So today we have a gorgeous little gift box featuring the beautiful Calla lily, and it's a very simple box, square box, and I believe that, depending on the size here, let's take a look. Yeah, you could technically make this thing a little bit wider if you wanted to use it to store cards in, but it'd be perfect to present a little gift box or a small, I'm sorry, not a gift box, a gift card, or a small gift, whatever it is that you want to put in. It's a great little, cute little box. So what we're going to do is begin by just taking and folding everything at the tabs. We've got a top and a bottom, obviously. The top, you can tell it's the top because it has these little notches cut into them so that you can easily put your fingers in there and lift it off with a base. So you can actually begin just putting this thing together. These tabs here, we're going to put glue on them, and just make sure that you get some of that glue right out to the edge there so that you have a nice clean seam, and just fold it in and connect it to the neighboring piece there. Make sure you get it nice and lined up, apply a nice firm pressure, and then if you want, you can also just put it on your tabletop and push from the inside to really get that to hold. And that is nice and lined up for me. So we're going to repeat that process 3 more times on this, and then literally do the same thing for the lid. Again, it's just a very quick little box to put together if you're in a rush, or if you have plenty of time, you can spend a little extra time adding embellishments and some rhinestones, pearls, whatever it is you want to do to jazz this up even more. And again, I'm just kind of pushing from the inside once it gets its initial hold, and then just moving on to the next tab. And again, it's important to get that glue out to the edge of the tab so it looks nice and clean and professional. Okay, tabs in, just bring this piece over and just connect it. Get your fingers in there, make sure it's nice and lined up, and then you can put it down on your surface and push down. Kind of force that glue to penetrate quicker. And the last tab here. This one may be a little trickier to get that glue out there, but that wasn't so bad. Get it lined up, give it a little squeeze, and voila. Pop that down on my table and push from the inside, and there we go. So our base is done. Can put that off to the side, let that set while we construct the top. Okay, and again, just beginning by folding everything at the score marks here. Okay. And there we go. And same exact process. Begin with just one of the tabs, doesn't matter which one. We're just going to work our way around anyway, so pick one and go with it. And I'm spreading that glue out right up to the edge, bringing it in, lining it up, just like that. Give it a good squeeze. Let it get its initial hold and then push down. Okay. And there we go. Next tab. And just fold it in, line it up, and squeeze. Just make sure you get that nice and aligned. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll just work on the top. We've got a cute little bow that we're going to put on top as well. And before you know it, we'll have our box assembled and ready to go. I'm going to try not to edit this video at all so that you can get an exact idea of the assembly time. I'm hoping that this thing comes in under 10 minutes. And you really can't beat that. If obviously you still have to cut your paper, your pieces out, but even then, where or how could you possibly find the perfect box for whatever gift you're going to give in 10, 15 minutes without leaving the house, getting dressed, driving, going to the store, looking at all the crazy options, and even then, you don't have the ability to even customize it. Where with this, you can put whatever you want on top, make it whatever color you want, and because these are all vectors and because we have these amazing machines, you can make this as big or as small as your machine will allow. And that is pretty darn cool. Okay. All right, so our lid is done. Should fit nicely, and it does. We're going to keep these together like so, just to kind of keep it nice and stable for us while it sets. And we can take this piece here. Now I hit this with a little bit of a green ink, and I also embossed it with like a tiny heart embossing folder. Now one other thing you'll notice about this piece is that there are a series of score lines here, okay, and down here. That is to help you get the exact alignment for this piece, as well as this little accent piece, which we'll just put on in a second here. So I'm going to flip this around and get my glue all over this guy here. Don't need a lot, and less is more in this case, so you don't have any glue spilling out. Okay, and then again, I'm going to do this real quick, and you'll get an idea of how it all works. So there's 2 notches up here, and then there's 3 notches, one for each little stem of the flower, and then this one should just kind of fall into place, which it did. Okay, so I've got that in place. And now there's also a couple notches here for this little accent piece. It's not an accent piece, it's just another part of the leaf, I guess. I don't want to call it an accent piece. And that is going to go right there and right there. There's 2 little notches, one at the tip and one at the base of this piece. Okay, so that is that. So that's how that should look. And the green ink we have there kind of complements that. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this guy over, and I'm going to grab some of my foam circles. If you have foam squares, that's fine as well. And we're going to kind of bring them in just a tad so they're not all the way out at the perimeter of this piece. We don't want anyone seeing that. And just kind of stick that on there. Okay. Then we're going to pop it right on top of our box, and then we can kind of finish this off by putting together our bow. I'm going to throw a little bit of bling on this as well. And I need one more here. Now, obviously you can't put it here, but if we pick a spot that's close, and you know what we may do is, let's do one here, and then let's do another one on the other side so that it kind of holds it up nicely for us. That should work there. Peel that off. Come on. Come on, sticky. Okay. All right, let's grab our box. Make sure you got the top, obviously, and you want to place that nice and centered on your box. I'm going to kind of do this so I can make sure that I've got it aligned properly. That looks pretty darn good. And just give that a push. Make sure you got it nice and centered. Okay, so that is that. How does that look? That looks pretty good. All right, let's take a look at our bow. So we have the tail of the bow, and I ran this through an embossing folder, and I also hit it with a little bit of just a slightly darker pink. I'm also going to take my dowel and just kind of curl the tail out to give it a little dimension. And then these are the 2 parts of the actual bow, and I'm going to take my dowel and begin to shape this to make it round so that when we kind of glue it to itself, it doesn't just crease We want it to be nice and round. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with this guy here as well. May as well get this out of the way. And you can probably just use your finger with this too. I like the dowel because it's consistent. Sometimes I don't like the texture of the paper on my fingers. I'm kind of weird like that a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold these in right into the center, okay, and get them glued so that the little scallop or the lace, whatever you want to call it, matches up so that you can see through the holes. That's how you know that you have it aligned correctly. Okay, so we're going to build both of these separately, and then we're going to connect them and then give it a tail. Okay, so just kind of holding that in place, squeezing it to help it dry a little bit quicker. And then we can throw our next little dot of glue on there and fold that down. Just again, make sure that these holes match up. These holes here, all of them should technically match up. And that's how you know you've got it in the right spot. Give it a squeeze. Okay, so there is one part of our bow. Let me show you a completed prototype here so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's a very pretty lacy bow. All right, next one, just take that, throw a little more glue on there. Take one side, bring it in, and kind of overlap it until these holes right here are laying right on top of each other. That's how you know you've got it lined up nicely. And just try to keep these nice and round. Again, if you tried to fold it over without training it, you may have gotten a crease here, and it's not the end of the world. But if you want it to be nice and round, train it before you assemble it. Okay, so that looks good. There we go, give it a good squeeze, just like that, okay? And the way this is gonna work is we're gonna connect these two together like this, okay? And I've got this piece here that we're gonna wrap around. Let's see, I'll show you here. Yeah. So what we can actually do is just connect these two by using this little center section here. The center section on this is gonna go right on top of the center section of the other one. So just hold that in place, give it a good squeeze, make sure that you have it correctly aligned, and then it's nice and lined up, and give it a squeeze. And just hold that in place. I think this paper is actually more likely to crease because of the embossing. So you definitely want to make sure that you use your little dowel to train this paper before you do that. And then finally, we have this little piece here. Well, not finally, we still have the tail, but this piece here is going to go right over the center because we also have that embossed, and you're just going to loop that around. You may actually need to kind of thread it through the bottom because of this little gap here where the little doilies or the little lace portion kind of comes out. So you see how that looks there on the front. And then you're just going to glue this to the back. So just throw a little dot of glue there, put one side down, hold that in place for a sec, and then throw another dot of glue right there, and just fold that over to get that to stick. And just hold that in place for a second. Okay, there we go. There's our cute little bow. And then I'm just going to take our tail and glue that right onto the back of this section here as well. I might have overdone it on the glue there. Just going to spread that out a little bit. Okay, and just take the tail, make sure that it's nice and hidden behind the bow, and give it a squeeze. And there we go. So that is that, and then you can either glue it or pop dot it, and we're gonna place it about here, I'd say, just somewhere right below the actual leaves that are coming off of our lilies here. And I'm gonna, because this is so bulky as far as dimension, I'm gonna grab a pop dot. I've got a bunch of pop dots here, and I'm just gonna take my little pop dot, stick it right on the back there. It helps to have a gentle touch with the pop dot so that you don't let it, and it's kind of a big pop dot, so I'm going to squeeze it together a little bit so it's not showing up from the front. And that's actually going to add a little bit more dimension to this, which is nice. And position it right about there. Okay, and then we can kind of flare this out a little bit. It's sticking up a little too much for my liking. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. I'm just going to finish this off by throwing a little bit of bling, one little piece right there in the center of the bow, and then put some little heart-shaped rhinestones around the perimeter to finish it off, and you got yourself a box. So I don't have a counter here, but that couldn't have taken more than 10-15 minutes tops, and hope you enjoyed the project. If you did, please take a moment to visit our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And if you do make one of these, we'd love to see your version. Visit us on Facebook by doing a search for Dreaming Tree Group. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.